Psycho, a Jeff the Killer story. Chapter 1. Yet another late night studying and finishing my homework. I was a brand new freshman in college, and the workload, despite my split up schedule, was already pretty overwhelming. At least I had chosen classes that I had enjoyed, for the most part, except for Algebra 2. I can't stand math. My favorite class was History of Rock and Roll. I love music with a passion, and after a couple years at this community college, I was going to transfer to a 4-year music school to major in either music performance or music education. However, my main task at hand was finishing up my English essay. Don't get me wrong, I love English, but the assignments were fairly lengthy. Anyways, I was sitting on the living room couch with the laptop keeping my legs warm and my books scattered around me. I'm a night owl, so staying up late is no problem for me. However, it was almost 1 a.m. and I was exhausted. So after letting my dogs Casey, an 11-year-old schnoodle, and Lucy, a 5-month-old goldendoodle, outside before the night, I locked them in their cages, turned off the TV, hit the lights, and went up to my room. I felt a little more secure in my room when I worked. I don't mind being alone to work, yet lately I'd been getting this paranoid feeling inside me, this nagging feeling that something was going to happen. It's been happening since I watched that video, that terrifying scene of an abandoned insane asylum, that long hall, that creepy figure running at the camera with a knife. When I saw that, my computer almost instantly crashed on me, notifying me that it had been hacked. Since then, it never worked. My dad, however, told me that we'd get me a new laptop, and that I could use his for the time being. Anyways, the feeling of dread and paranoia had grown since then, and I instinctively carried my hunting knife with me. It was now permanently attached to my belt loop in its little case. I even carried it in my school bag. I know that could get me in trouble, but I felt as though my life were in danger. I'm sure someone would understand. At about 1:30, I had finished my paper. Just as I was about to print it, I began hearing noises. It sounded like creaking and moaning. At first, I didn't pay much mind, since our house was over 100 years old. But then the noises started turning into bangs and smashes. I'm surprised the dogs haven't started barking yet. I'm starting to feel more and more scared, my heart racing and my breathing hitched. I secured my knife in my belt loop and cautiously opened my bedroom door. Nothing was there, yet the noises sounded really close. It was freaking me the hell out. I quietly tipped into my parents' room and began shaking my dad's shoulder. "Daddy! Daddy! I think someone's in the house," I whispered. He sleepily opened one eye and stared at my terrified face. I was on the brink of tears. "You're just tired, Samantha. We've been working hard. Just get some rest," he said. This left me in shock. My dad, of all people, would drop anything to protect his family, and I finally have an emergency on our hands, and all he does is brush me off. In a rage and panic, I went to his fingerprint-activated gun safe and opened it. This particular safe matches up with all the fingerprints that are set to it, so it readily opened for me. I grabbed the SR-22 Ruger pistol and quickly filled up 3 clips with bullets, inserting one in the Ruger. If someone wasn't going to handle the situation, I was, even if I wasn't old enough for my pistol permit. As I stalked back to my room, the noises seemed to increase. I deftly reached for the thick, black flashlight by my bedside. I carefully, yet fearfully, took one stair at a time. As these things, like the house, creaked something awful, I flinched each time one made a noise. I peeked around the stairwell to find that the kitchen light was on. Someone was in the house. Just as I was about to turn around and wake my dad again, I heard footsteps. They were heavy, yet quickly paced, like a metronome. The sounds of drawers opening and shutting were heard as the intruder continuously opened and shut them. I feared that he was looking for some sort of weapon. I kept stock still where I was, peeling my line of vision everywhere. I've been taking karate for 11 years, and I'm a 2nd-degree black belt. Naturally, we were trained to be aware of our surroundings. Now was the time for it to kick in. The dogs were awake all right, but they were stock still and trembling. I froze when I heard the footsteps move toward the living room, and I crept further into the dark. I could see the shadow of the figure, male, tall and stocky, maybe 6'3", wearing something on his head. His stride was slow, but swift. Instinctively, I turned the safety off on the Ruger, my finger just above the trigger. Finally, his figure came into view. He was wearing a white hoodie, black pants, and boots. His hair was jet black, and his face appeared to have a ghastly white complexion. Though he turned in my direction, his line of vision didn't seem to trail on me. A scream nearly fell from my mouth, had the horror of his face not put me in shock. The man's eyelids appeared to be scorched off, leaving black rings around his never-blinking eyes. They almost seemed to glow in the dimness. But the most terrifying part was the eerily permanent smile carved into his face. It made him look like the psycho that everybody feared in their worst nightmares. He appeared to be scanning the room for something, but what really caught my eye was the meat cleaver in his hand. Now I know what he'd been searching for. A murder weapon. I was starting to panic, and I managed to do some deep breathing to help me relax. For the moment. I was surprised he didn't see me, since I was almost right there. I was beginning to prepare myself for the worst, just when I thought maybe the mysterious man was ready to give up on his little charade. Things only began to get worse.